You had to be trapped for the rest of your life on a deserted island. You could either be with your worst enemy or by yourself. What would you do? Your only two choices.
Okay, so you remember a few weeks ago we talked about how cannibalism is not a viable option for survival?
That's true. That's true. You cannot eat other people for sustenance.
But if I wanted to use all parts of the buffalo, I could, like, tan their hides and, like, make stuff out of their bones. So,
Yeah, I think the question is, would you rather be alone or have companions?
No, I don't want a companion. I'm trying to decide if I want to be by myself or if I want to have more raw materials to deal with.
Wow. Wow. Unbelievable.
You need better friends, Anna.
You're not like, yeah, with another person because maybe they would bring like a good book that we could share.
I mean, they can bring the book. I can just take it after they're dead.
Right. Wow. That took a turn for me. Just gonna eat them.
Oh my gosh. Anna, what about you? Would you take your worst enemy? You gonna just make amends? Is this a Hallmark movie on an island?
I wouldn't take them, and even if I did, I definitely wouldn't eat them.
I wouldn't eat them either.
I was thinking about it, and I have like PTSD from my worst enemy, so I'm like, you know what? No. I do pretty well on my own. Like, I'm pretty content to hang with myself, and I also feel like I get a lot less embarrassed to do things on my own. Like, I can probably figure it out and make surviving work, but like I don't want anybody to watch me try to do it. It's like anytime I'm like building something, I like am doing fine and I'm fine, and then if Andy comes around the corner, I'm like, well, don't look at me. Like, I'm gonna make this work. You can't look at me.
I find it a little bit funny and a little bit sad that your anxiety is so bad that you would be embarrassed to be found trying to stay alive.
This is something that I should bring up with my therapist.
Yes. Your first concern is not, I'm going to die. It's, what if they see me before I die?
I don't want anybody to see me trying to survive. That would be embarrassing for me.
Oh my
somehow.
Gosh. Well,
yeah.
Do what?
Yeah, my embarrassment is just like a central point in my life. Also, I always think it'll be relatable when I talk about it, and everyone's like, no.
No.
Nobody else is embarrassed as much as you are.
No, I've been in situations where I've had to survive, not necessarily like on a deserted island, but like living in a house with all the utilities turned off and having no money and no way to get food. Been there. And, you know, sometimes you just have to call your best friend and be like, hey, can I come to your house and shower? And also, can I take a 5-gallon bucket of water with me home so I can flush my toilet? So, like, there's no room for pride when you're surviving.
Right. I'd be like, don't look at me. I'm making this work. Go away.
Oh, my God. Well, if you are new here, this is the Overreacting in Overalls podcast. I am Claire. You can find me online at Rent to Grown, and I'm joined today by my co-host,
Anna. And you can find me everywhere on the World Wide Web at AKPRZY.
And if you know whether or not you want to be deserted with your worst enemy or by yourself, we want to know what your answer to that would be. So go ahead and rate us 5 stars on your favorite podcast platform and let us know. Or if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to leave us a comment. I want to know if you're with Anna and you would be embarrassed to be seen struggling in any capacity, or if you're with me and you're going to use all parts of the buffalo. Please advise.
I guess some people might want to be alone, but not because they're embarrassed. Probably like, not their anxiety. They probably just, I don't know, think they couldn't handle being with their enemy, which I couldn't either.
I legitimately, like, the first person that came to mind, like, I've excluded them from all parts of my life, mostly for their benefit. I've talked about that on TikTok before, but um, I if they've got to be there, like, I'm doing what I have to do. But if they don't have to be there, I really don't know that I would want them there, you know. So, speaking of anxiety, have you over or underreacted this week? We haven't gotten to talk that much because we've both been really busy, but I'm interested to hear what you got for us this week.
Okay, well, I'm so nervous to tell this story
Oh
because I
no.
think it makes me sound petty. But so I own a small business,
Same.
but we've been around since 1985. Like, that's a long-standing history and some capacity. Like, the capacity has changed, the company's changed, but we've existed for a long time. We've had many vendors through the years, but we have had this vendor since they kind of grew up in the same town as us as a business. So we started using them in like 1998. Okay. This is like a pretty long relationship.
Yeah, I was 4.
And we still use them consistently. And in a normal year, not this year, but in a normal year, we pay them like probably $5 or $6 grand a month.
Oh wow.
Like, we're not bad client, right? We grew up alongside them, and they grew up. Like, when we started with them in 1998, they were out of a guy's like dorm room. They were like small business, same as us. And then now they have multiple production warehouses, like, across the country, storefronts. But they're still like based, and they still are down the street from us, like their main warehouse. They've grown really big, and they do all of like the sports apparel for like U of M and all of the sororities and fraternities, and they have bigger accounts. Like, they have a big store in Michigan, Emden. They do like all of their apparel and all this stuff. And I know that they have much bigger bills coming in that are probably easier because, yeah, we pay them $5 to $6 grand a month, but it's in like 6 different orders, and they're all over the place. And I'm sure they're not that easy because of how many small orders we have versus larger orders. So in March, so for the longest time, go back like 10 years, guy that we worked with directly was the owner for forever. And that was great. And then he gave us to a pretty high up, like, close friend. We got really used to working with him, and it was great. And when we had issues, we brought them up. Like, you can when you know the people and you've been working with them for 30 years.
Yeah.
And in March, when COVID started, I got an email, and my guy was like, "Hey, I'm going to pass you off to Sean, and he's great, and you're going to love him." Okay. I was like, "Well, I don't." I was like, "I've been working directly with you every week, like 5 times a week for 5 years. So we'll see." So then I switched to Sean, and I finally get in a groove with him. And after like 6 or 7 months, and he disappears, like, never to be heard from again. With him, things changed, and I had to get used to it, right? Like, my ordering process was different. My lead times were different because we weren't getting as much special treatment as we always have. And it's gotten like less and less special treatment as we've been moved down the line. So, and Sean up and disappears, and we get this new guy. I can't think of his name, but I'm so frustrated. This is a vendor that I have to work with constantly. I'm in constant contact with them. And this person, this is like I don't know if I'm overreacting or not. We've been doing things close to the same way, like a little bit of variation for forever. And this guy is so frustrated with me because apparently nothing I'm doing is correct. Nobody ever told me that. Like, nobody ever said, "Here's how we do things here, by the way." Like, I don't know what you're doing. And then he was like, "And you're behind on invoices." And I go, "Well, where are you sending them?" Like, what? He's like, "Well, I don't know. They're on your online account." And I go, "We don't have an online account."
Oh my gosh.
I go, And like, we deal with you directly. Like, you talk to my accountant. This is a 30-year relationship that exists in this way. And so he's like annoyed and I'm annoyed. And I emailed him and I was like, listen, I was like, this is very frustrating for me. I was like, maybe I'm out of line. You're frustrated with me because I'm not doing things the way you want them done. But in 10 years, nobody's ever told me to do it differently. No one's told me that I needed to have an online account, so I just don't. No one reached out for that. A bill hadn't been paid since January. And I was like, you never thought to like, you were like, you just sat there? And he's like, yeah, I just saw they all weren't getting paid on your online account. And I was like, well, we don't have an online account. I was like, I can't log in and pay them. Of course, it probably exists on your end, but we've never.
Y'all don't have the login for it.
And he seemed like even more mad at me. And he's like, well, I can get you a login. And I was like, no, I want you to continue to send the invoices directly to my accountant because I don't want to deal with it. It's like, this is just, I'm not like great with change. And every time I tell you that I don't know what you're talking about, you're not giving me any instructions. When I'm like, this isn't how we've done it. Can you tell me how it's supposed to be done? You're just like saying more things that I don't understand. Mm-hmm. And so I CC'd the owner on the email where I was like, listen, I'm like, you need to give on this a little bit because the things you're saying don't make sense for us. Like he was saying, we can no longer pick up our orders at the warehouse. And I was like, that's not correct. I was like, I will be picking up our orders at the warehouse. We literally are next door. I'm not waiting for you to ship them. And he's like, but that's how things work here. And I was like, well, I've been placing an order every week since the 90s, and no one's ever changed things like this with no explanation. That was it. I know it's not like, it's just shirts, but it's a lot of money, and it's frustrating to get passed around, and like, it feels like they're just, like trying to throw us down the line, like, because our account's smaller. I don't know, but I copied the owner because I was like, listen, I'm not in the mood.
Well, so is this new dude, is he your sales rep?
I don't really know. Like, he's just like my customer rep.
Okay. So
like, he processes all my orders for me.
Right. Personally, I'm going to tell you that you're not reacting enough. And here's why I say that. I've been that customer rep. Okay? So I've worn a lot of hats. I've had a lot of jobs, but one place in particular, I worked for this small company that did wholesale manufacturing, and it was all done in-house, and it started in like the late 70s, early 80s, and it has become an international thing. And I worked at their headquarters in a very like specialized department doing customer orders and customer retention and stuff like that. And one day, this woman was retiring. She had been there pretty much since they opened. She came on board like very, very early on. And she was retiring, and she was going to retire to Oklahoma because apparently that's what you do anyway, I never heard of anybody doing that. But she was leaving, and she had one of he wasn't like a old account. We had him for 10-ish years. But he wasn't like the oldest and longest standing account, but he did represent about $500,000 a year in revenue. And so she was leaving. She had been his only point of contact. He used to call into the call center and try to place his orders over the phone like everybody else. Got mad about having to do that. Glommed onto this one woman. And then whenever she stopped doing call center stuff and just started doing like large commercial orders, like we're talking like 400 or 500 units large, when she started just doing that, he followed her. and he had her extension, and he would call her directly, and like they had a process. He wouldn't even leave her voicemails. He would just call. She would see she had a missed call from him, and she would call him back. And this like was a several time a day thing. So anyway, she had to name a successor. And so she asked me, she was like, hey, you do great work. Your quality assessments are really good. And I hear how you talk to the customers. You're great. Will you deal with this guy? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, okay, listen, he's really weird. He isn't from around here. You know, he's like a self-made man. But he's, you know, a little on the misogynistic side. And, you know, you have to deal with him a very certain way. None of his stuff goes according to how any of our other orders go. You have to deal with him a certain way. So she handed him over to me, and then she retired. And it was constant, and it was very stressful. But I was dealing with it, and we were like developing a relationship, and it was going good and everything. But then he started having issues with one of his orders, and I was trying to fix it, but he didn't like how I was trying to fix it. I guess because I, being newer than this woman who's been here since the beginning, like I didn't have the same pull within the company that she did. I couldn't just make the exceptions that he was used to. And so, anyway, long story short, he pulled her out of retirement. He had her personal cell phone number and started calling her at home, and she would call into the call center and place his orders for him. So, like, he made a big enough stink that this woman came out of retirement for him. Like, she is now just she works part-time, and she is now just his personal account rep.
That's the other thing is, like, that's what happened in March when I switched from the same guy I'd had for 10 years to the one I didn't have very long. I sent an email once saying, like, I'm not sure I understand what you mean. And I had copied the owner there, and he wrote back and he said, oh, sure, I'll talk to you. We do things differently for them. So that's why I was like, okay, I don't know what you do differently for me. So when I have a new person, I can't even explain it to them because I don't know how you do it normally. So I don't know what the difference is for me when this guy doesn't understand what I'm talking about and I don't understand what he's talking about and we can't communicate. And I'm like, can't you send that email where you say, I'll talk to you on the side. We do it differently for them because like, that's what I need.
Yeah.
Or like a sheet that lays out how to do it. Not like, it's like every time I ask him what I'm doing wrong, he just says another thing I don't understand. And I'm like, I need you to walk me through this. If it's all different than I thought, you gotta give me something here.
Right. So I would, if I were you, I would ask them to walk you through the new account setup process, and like give you all the information like you've never been here before. Like you're getting caught up on all how they do everything.
Yeah, apparently that's the truth.
Yeah. And then the only thing that needs to be different with your account, as opposed to like how they do stuff for other people, should be that you're allowed to walk next door and pick up your own orders. And like if it needs to be an online account, you don't have to fool with it. Give that to your accountant and let them deal with the online account, like the same way they pay the utility bills online, you know, that kind of thing. That's my recommendation as a former rep.
No, I haven't worked in a few days, so I haven't had to. I think I just left it all open-ended and I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I can't deal with this.
I don't blame you. That's unnecessary weekend stress. I think you should, like, ask them to be like, okay, hey, just, like, talk to me like I've never been here before. Walk me through the new account setup process because I've been here since way before you had an account setup process, you know?
Right? I'm like, I don't know, we just used to, like, call the owner and say what we needed and then he made it work for us.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I understand that's not correct, but...
Yeah, that's really on them for like not keeping you guys up to date, you know?
Yeah, like they kind of let us backslide into 2008.
Because I'm sure like if you had been given the heads up that like you're switching to an online account, you'd have been done that. Like you'd already done it.
especially like if there is a way to submit orders online, like hell yeah, I want to submit orders online. I've been like doing this tedious like hand sending these orders, typing them out thing forever.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'd be less stressful for everybody.
And if they're giving you special pricing and there's a way to put it in online, they need to have their little web development people make you like a coupon code or a special link or something to get you your own pricing sheet. Like,
Yeah, I'll do it. And also, I'm not paying.
yeah. Well,
Fair.
yes.
Is there anything you overreacted about this week?
For a change, I underreacted a little bit.
Okay.
My ex-boyfriend texted me today, and he said, and I quote, "Can you look up someone and see how and when they died?"
Like you specifically, or like
Yeah.
can anybody?
Yeah, no, me specifically. This was like a "will you do this thing for me" type of request. And I was like, yeah, sure. Who is it? Apparently his ex-stepdad died sometime, somewhere. And so this is the father to his younger brothers who are still in elementary school. Very big age gap. And they just got a letter from the Social Security Administration one day saying, "Hey, sorry for your loss. Here's your back pay for your survivor's benefits for the kids."
Oh. They didn't know?
No, had no idea. And so he left the family like over 5 years ago, before he and I started dating. And like moved out to, I thought it was Arizona, but apparently it was maybe California, not clear. And just moved out there and, never really talked to the kids. He was never really involved, even when the mom was with him. He was just very absent, even though he lived in the same house with them. And he's a really weird dude anyway. But, so he would call maybe once or twice a year to talk to the kids. And, they, like, knew who he was, but, like, he was, they called him by his first name.
Very close.
So, apparently, he died. He had called them, or he had texted the mom in November and said, "Hey, can I call the boys?" Which is, what he would do. Randomly, he would do that. Never on birthdays, never on holidays, just, it'd be like a Tuesday, and he would text her at 10 a.m. and be like, "Hey, can I talk to the boys?" And normally, they would FaceTime. But apparently he contacted them in November and was like, "Hey, can I talk to the boys?" And she was like, "Sure." And she went to go FaceTime him, and he didn't want to FaceTime. He only wanted to talk to them on the phone. And according to the back pay that they're getting for survivor benefits, he died in November. So I think that he was sick, and he knew he was sick, and he didn't want them to see him, and that's why he didn't FaceTime, but we don't know. We don't have a cause of death. And so he was trying to talk to me about, like, did he have an obituary? And unfortunately, this man did not have an obituary. He didn't have any other next of kin or anything. So now we're trying to find out if somebody has claimed his body, even. Because you only have an obituary put out if your family puts out an obituary, and they didn't know he was dead, and you only get buried typically if you either have a plan to be buried or if your family, has a funeral for you. And he had some siblings living somewhere that are his next of kin, but he didn't really talk to them. Both his parents are dead. So these kids are the last of his family, and they literally found out today that he died. So And that's been like, what, 5 months ago?
Wow.
But I underreacted because instead of being like, oh no, I'm sad that he died, like, don't get me wrong, I'm sad for his kids that he's dead, but also, like, he was never really a dad to them, and they called him by his first name. Um, so I'm a little bit sad for them, but, like, at least now they weren't getting child support before, so now at least they're getting survivor benefits. And they are entitled to any part of his estate that they can, you know, lay claim to. But instead of being sad that this man died because he was genuinely a piece of shit, um, instead of being sad that he died, I was a little bit excited because I was like, ooh, I get to look for somebody because I love doing my little stalkery research thing. So yeah, I pointed them on how to request a death certificate on behalf of the kids and do the whole thing. I've given them the name of an attorney that does like estate planning and stuff because they're gonna need somebody to help get his assets and stuff and just divide them amongst the children and yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
I like this is can I tell a related but unrelated story?
Yeah.
Or is this story not done?
No, go ahead. That's it. That's literally it. The dude's dead and we don't know why and we're trying to find out.
Yeah, speaking of people dying. So my cousin, she's remarried now, but she got married in 2013 and she was like they were together for like 60 days maybe.
Oh.
It was doomed from the start. We all like told her beforehand, like, you can't do this. But it was one of those, she was like, I'm too far, like, in, like, it's happening. And you're like, okay. I guess it was like $100,000 wedding.
Oh, it's never too late to cancel $100,000
I
wedding.
know. Unbelievable. But anyways, they got married. Were together like 2 months. And then he wouldn't grant her an annulment. So he made her get a divorce, which is annoying because she's Catholic. It was like, seriously. And it like turned out in the end, like he was high at their wedding and all this other stuff. So like in a Catholic marriage, they could definitely have, it wouldn't have been a problem to get it annulled.
Okay.
And also he was nuts. But
So wait. Context question. When I think of somebody being high at their wedding, I think of like your quintessential shotgun wedding. And this is $100,000 wedding. So how close to a shotgun wedding was it?
That was just like a good, he was not like that. He was not like a strange fellow. I am an old timey woman. But until like 6 months before, actually, like the moment he proposed, he became agoraphobic and he like never left the house again. And she gave him so many ultimatums, like, if you don't show up to this therapy appointment, like, we're not getting married, we're not staying together, blah, blah, blah. But then it like got too close to the wedding and she went through with it. It was a lovely wedding, honestly. I gave a really good speech, but they got divorced, and that was in the same year, 2013. So, like, this is for, they've been separated for a long time. She is remarried with a kid with a great guy.
Okay.
But I don't know, like, the actual logistics of an annulment, but there's some sort of statute of limitations where she can file it now, like, for some reason.
But you said she's remarried. Is she?
You can get remarried as a divorce. She just wants it annulled because she's Catholic, so that she can. Her marriage isn't recognized in the Catholic Church because she was divorced.
I thought we were doing some bigamy things. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm with you.
No. They divorced and she never saw him again. Literally hasn't spoken to him since 2013.
Okay.
And then because it's basically just because her mom is going to have a heart attack if she doesn't, end her life with all of the proper ways to get into heaven. Okay. It's not, it's the things you do for your parents. I wouldn't, but we are.
I guess I'm not familiar enough with Catholicism, but go ahead.
You can't, your marriage isn't recognized in the Catholic Church if you've been divorced, but it is recognized in the Catholic Church if your marriage was annulled. It's really important for her to tell her mom she's going to go to heaven because she has a marriage that's recognized, but whatever it is, I don't know. not unfollow, whatever it is. She knew this year she could do it without him, but she just wanted to notify him. She was texting him, or she has to notify him or something. She's texting him. She was like calling his number, calling his parents. She hasn't spoken to him since 2013. Hasn't texted him, hasn't once looked him up. So she Googled him to see if she could find his address, and he died in 2018.
Well, can she still have it annulled without him being alive?
I think she can, honestly. But it's just, the crazier part was she texted me and she goes, oh, she said, I'm putting you down as my like witness that Chase was like mentally unstable or whatever to get marriage annulled. And I said, oh, that's fine. And she put Andy down too. And she's like, if they call you, just confirm. I was like, yeah, no problem. And then like 3 hours later, she texted me and she's like, he's dead. I was like, what?
I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's just.
And this is like a person that like Andy lived with. Like, this
on
is
purpose?
Like a person we knew really well, like before. Yeah, like that's how I know Andy. He was my cousin's roommate, and they lived with the ex-husband and all of that. But it was pretty weird, and I was like, we're still Facebook friends. I was like, there's not one indication on his Facebook page that he's dead. I was like, not one person's written, like, you know how sometimes people write on people's Facebook walls after they're dead and stuff.
Yeah.
Not a single note, like anything. Like there just hasn't been a post on his page since 2017.
Are we sure he's dead?
Yeah, there's like obituaries and everything with pictures.
And
yeah, isn't that crazy? I just was saying, like, not knowing somebody died. He just died. And Lauren's like, I mean, I guess nobody would have told me. It's kind of weird that nobody told her, to me. Had like mutuals.
Yeah.
Nobody knew he died.
So they didn't know? Like everybody else didn't know?
I looked at like the funeral home website, and like a few people wrote comments like, oh, like to the parents, like, oh, so sorry, like we miss, living next door to you back in Michigan. Like, so obviously like some people knew, but I don't know. That was a weird day.
That is weird. The way that families communicate is so fascinating to me. And it's also exhausting when you're talking about your own family and how your own family communicates.
Claire, how does your family communicate?
So my other overreacting thing does pertain to family communications, but do you have anything else on your mystery dead guy?
Oh, that was it. It was just, it all felt weird. Nobody was like sad. We just were all like, that is really weird.
That is crazy. So my family is just like exceedingly weird, right? I cannot wait to tell you all the weird things about my family. But some of the things that get left out of the big picture as far as like how they communicate with each other. Like I'm happy to tell anybody and everybody pretty much anything about my family, right? Like personal information, not so much, but like as far as like how the dynamic works, you can ask me and I'll tell you. But not everybody in my family is like that, and I think it's weird. So my mom's dead, right? She's been dead for 10 years, but she didn't like die as a very, very young person. She was 47 when she died, which is young to die, but like she was not a young person, And so then 2 years ago, well, not quite 2 years ago, my grandfather died. And I was thinking about this. I thought it had only been a year, but that's because COVID has messed up my sense of time.
Everything's a year off. Yes.
Yeah. So it's been almost 2 years. It's been like a year and a half since he died. And that's her dad. And her parents were married until my mom was 17. They got divorced. And they were like on again, off again. I would not be shocked if he has other kids somewhere. And so there's my mom, and then her next youngest brother under her is 8 years younger than her. And then there's another
Wow.
brother that's 11 months younger than the other brother. They're they're it,
Yeah.
like horrifyingly close together in age. So anyway, my grandfather, when my mom was younger, before the boys were born, my granddad really had nothing to do with them, right? So he was married to my grandmother. He would come around occasionally, but he was in college at the time, and he didn't go to college in Tennessee. He actually schlepped off to FSU
Oh.
while he was married with a kid at home, right? And so, uh, I don't know if he just like didn't tell people he had a kid. Anyway, he and my grandmother had a very on again, off again relationship. And then he got done with college and grad school at FSU and moved back to Tennessee to begin practicing his professional practice. And my grandparents gave it another shot, immediately got pregnant with my uncle, turned around, immediately got pregnant with another uncle. And then, like, we're again kind of on again, off again. And my grandmother kept trying to make it work for the kids' sake, but, like, they definitely did not need to be together. And, like, he just was a very absent father as far as my mom went. Now, whenever they finally went to go get divorced, he didn't want to pay child support on my mom. He didn't deny that that was his daughter, but he didn't want to pay child support on her. He did not fight for visitation for her. He was willing to sign over his rights to her. But he was willing to pay child support on the boys, and he fought for visitation for the boys. Right? And so that
Mhm.
that was like a big point of contention for my mom.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up.
And they kind of fixed their relationship a little bit after my sister and I were born because my mom had kids and she was like, I want my kids to have a grandfather because my other grandfather was dead. And so, they worked on it and he was kind of around. I don't know what it's like to have a grandfather, but I don't assume that he's what it's like. You know, he's my grandfather mostly in name only. So, anyway, when he died, I went to the visitation and my uncles made me stand up there with the family. I was not prepared to do that. I just came to like visit and pay my respects. And they were basically like, "No, you need to stand up here because your mom couldn't stand up here." Like, way to
Oh,
throw the
wow.
guilt at me. Thank you so much for that. She's been dead 10 years, dude. Anyway, so they were like, "You need to stand up here because your mom can't stand up here."
Would your mom have wanted to stand up there?
Yes.
Is that?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
she would
Okay.
have. But the number of people who walked through and thought that I was one of my uncle's wives was astounding. And when I was like, no, actually, I'm my mom's kid, um, the number of people that said, "Oh, I didn't know he had a daughter," is
Yeah.
astounding. People that had
Uh,
known him forever, people that were in the United Way with him,
that
people
is
that
the
he went
worst.
to like, because he was one of those old men that went to a coffee shop every morning and sat around and solved the world problems at the table with his friends. Um, the number of people who did not know he had a daughter, but were very well aware and knew everything about the sons and the sons' kids and everything, but so many people did not know that he had a daughter and thought that I was the daughter or thought that, like, she must be younger than the boys or that she must be illegitimate or
Mm.
something. But she's 8 years older than them. Like, and he never denied that she was his child. He just didn't want her.
Yeah. Uh,
Like, how? I don't understand. And I didn't react at all because reacting at a funeral is bad. And like talking bad about the dead also kind of bad. But like I did try to talk about some of these things, not that exactly because I didn't know that he was leaving a whole ass kid out of his life. But I did try to talk to him a little bit during his lifetime, but he didn't ever want to talk about it. He would just shut down the conversation without actually being like, I don't want to talk about this. He would just kind of loop his way out until we weren't talking about it again. And so I'm torn. I didn't react. I didn't overreact. I didn't underreact. I just didn't react at all at the funeral. But I told my uncles about it, and they were like, don't talk bad about him. He's dead. This is his funeral. This is not about you. And I was like, I'm not trying to make it about me, but also, like, you made me stand up there because my mom couldn't stand up there. And, like, she might as well not have been there because nobody knew who she was anyway.
Yeah. Oh my, yeah, you're just telling them what happened. You're not like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's like explaining two deaths to somebody. They come up and they're like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry for his loss. Who are you to him? Oh yeah, I'm his daughter's daughter. Oh, I didn't know he had a daughter. Where is she? Oh, she's also dead. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about that. Have a good funeral. And then they'd move on down the line.
Oh, I hate it so much.
I hate it too, and I lived it. But, like, I don't understand how, because I understand that families communicate differently and everything. How do you do that? How do you leave out a whole ass kid? He wasn't denying the marriage. He wasn't denying the boys. He wasn't doing any of that. He just neglected to tell people that he had a daughter.
It's such a weird flex.
And it's not even like she was, like, shameful or unsuccessful or anything like that.
Yeah, right? She's impressive.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but also I don't know that there's like an appropriate way to like act when they are like, don't talk bad. You're like, I'm literally not. I'm just saying.
I know.
It seems off to me as a person with empathy and.
I know. So anyway, family communication is weird. And I don't like it. I prefer my method of just being very open and honest about everything. You want to know about all my cousins' illegitimate children? I will tell you. Maybe not. There's not that many.
Yeah. Oh my God. I just have just the one dead cousin's husband.
Just the one. How many more do you need? Are you trying to catch them all?
Right. The one secret dead cousin's husband is plenty. A side note, not related, but speaking of family, I got a text from one of my cousins who, like in my family, I've seen some TikToks about this where it's like dad's side, mom's side, and then you're like super close to your cousins on one side and the other side, you're like,
Yeah.
And I'm not close with her, but like we don't hang out outside of like Christmas or,
Right.
Thanksgiving. Like I wouldn't see her about, but she texted me the other day and she said, I just wanted you to know I found your TikTok and I watched all of your videos for hours. And she said, I'm so proud of you. I know. And I was like, thank you so much. That's so sweet. She's like, you're doing great.
Oh
She's like,
my
I didn't even know you
God.
had a TikTok. She's like, I got a TikTok just to watch your TikToks and I love it. And I was like, that is so cute. She's my same age and everything. Yeah. So it's like, it's pretty cute.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Your mom told me, and I was like, she did? My parents know I have a TikTok. They just have never seen them.
I mean, they might have now.
I don't know. She said she was like, I watched them in the middle of the night, like by myself laughing. And I was like, yeah, no.
That's how you do TikTok, though. That's how you get inundated, is you watch it in the middle of the night by yourself.
Yes, exactly.
That's like the purest thing I've ever heard in my life. Anytime that my extended family has found my TikTok, it's been met with disdain and, they're like, I rebuke it. You're lying.
I think it's funny when somebody who like, I don't know, maybe people have just never like heard me speak or something. Mm-hmm. Because I have a friend who works at TikTok and she said, I found your TikTok. She goes, you're so good. And I was like, what? I was like, talk to them algorithm people. So I think she's in like marketing or something. It's very unrelated, but
yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so proud.
I
I
know.
recently got close with one of my cousins that's like that. She's actually my double second cousin, but not in an incesty way.
I was gonna say,
And but I found out she's a raging leftist just like me, so that was pretty
oh
cool.
my gosh, in your same family and everything?
Yeah, she's my second cousin on both sides of my family, so she's like really in there.
Wow.
That's what I mean by double second cousin. Like my mom's first cousin married her dad's first cousin, and like
It's like a big old
no,
family reunion. It's
I
just a
said that
really
wrong.
big one.
My mom's first cousin and my dad's first cousin are her parents. Yeah, that.
Oh, so yeah, that's just random.
I mean, that was random. My parents' meeting was not random because they set my parents up. But, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was texting her just today, and like as soon as I found out that like I finally had another leftist in the family, so it wouldn't just be me and my sister, she moved out of state.
It'll happen. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think I might be, I'm not alone in my family, but I'm close to alone for sure.
yeah, at least I have my sister. You don't even have your brother.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry.
I know. It's really fun. I'm
Yeah,
having a good time. My
yeah.
brother just like doesn't believe in government, which is
Well,
different.
I mean, so is he an anarchist?
No, I don't know. Kind of.
But on the far right side or the far left
Yeah.
side? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I
Like
mean,
far right. I don't know.
yeah. So there's a big difference between far right communes and far left communes. And
Oh,
there's a
my
big
dad is like
difference.
he's like a nothing. He's just like out there living his best life,
Yeah.
voting for third party candidates.
Did he vote for Joe Jorgensen?
Yeah. Yeah. So did my husband.
Hey, I mean, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those
Right.
days.
Yeah, is it Miley Cyrus or is that Hannah Montana?
I mean, who knows the difference anymore?
They are the same person, but
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Well, speaking of people, not the same person though, we have a viewer submission to read. If you're not familiar with this segment of the podcast, we ask people to send us an email about a situation that they've had, a quandary, some source of perplexion in their lives, and then we pass judgment on it. So, give me,
I'm highly qualified, so you should
yeah,
listen to us.
yeah. Can you give me a fake name for this person?
Sarah.
Uh,
Or
let's go for. I don't know what this person's gender is. Give me a gender neutral fake name.
Ricky.
Hmm.
Ricky?
Vicky?
Ricky?
Ricky. Okay. Cool. All right. Ricky says, I'm in a Discord group where we talk about politics a lot, and the Derek Chauvin case trial came up since Chauvin's lawyer. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce his name. I'm not telling
Oh,
him.
I'm not sure either. I've only read it online.
I know, me too. So anyway, if I'm saying it wrong, let me know in a rating or something. um, so I'm in a Discord where we talk politics a lot, and the Derek Chauvin trial came up since Chauvin's lawyer stated that there was no evidence that George Floyd's airways were obstructed, despite the fact that he clearly died because Chauvin knelt on his neck. A couple of people in the Discord claimed that it was just the lawyer's job to create the best defense for his client, and that infuriated me because it seemed like they were making excuses for the lawyer, making completely false or misleading defenses about the incident in order to allow a killer cop to escape justice. So I pushed back very strongly. They later claimed that they weren't trying to defend what the lawyer was saying, only stating that it was an objective fact. But to me, making that statement in context is the same as defending the lawyer, even if that wasn't their intent. Am I overreacting?
Oh, I have a hard time with this one because lawyers are lawyers.
Yes,
Like, if they're just saying like that's what he had to do, or were they like saying it like that's no, I don't know.
I don't think it matters if it's what he had to do, because like making fundamentally false and easily disprovable statements is not what lawyers are supposed to do, you know?
Well,
and so I don't think that's an accurate thing. I don't think so. I think that,
I mean, it's really hard because you just want to, say like they're wrong just because they're wrong because they're wrong.
I know, but like that, if that's your defense as the lawyer, first of all, you're a shitty lawyer because we got it on tape.
Yeah.
Second of all, is this a lawyer? I haven't kept up with the trial at all. Is this a lawyer that he retained, or is this like a court-appointed lawyer? Because that makes a difference in my mind.
I'm sure that he hired a lawyer.
I'm sure, because I feel like a lot of people donated a lot of money for him to have a lawyer. So in that case, like I have a lot more sympathy for like public appointed defense lawyers, because you have to be there. You know, you don't have to believe them. You have to be there. You're required to do that.
No, I don't think he had that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So like, I'm already on like level 2 of fuck this guy. And then he's lying in court, so like level 3, and he's lying about murder that we have video proof of. So like, that's like level 10 fuck this guy. And I don't think there's any excuse you can make for like, I understand that he has a job to do, but
he didn't have to do it.
Well, he didn't have to do it, but also like, he's doing it badly because he's lying.
Yeah, well.
There's no evidence that he knelt on his neck. There's no evidence that his airway was obstructed. Are you kidding me? Anyway, yeah, no.
I hate it. I mean, you're not overreacting because you can react to that as overly as you want.
Yeah.
It's hard to, I don't know. It's probably, is it like a Discord of people that they know in real life?
I don't know.
I want to be like, is it like our Discord? Because if so, then I would say, yeah, like you can get mad, I think.
I feel like it probably would be like our Discord.
Then yeah, overreact some more.
Yeah, for sure. We don't make excuses for killer cops. We don't make excuses for the people who defend killer cops. We don't make excuses for the people who defend people defending the killer cops. That's where I'm at.
I'm with you. I think it's just hard because I think all lawyers are the worst.
My mom was a lawyer.
I just think you should. My best friend's a lawyer, but she's also like a contract lawyer for insurance. So
yeah,
a lot of wild shit going on there.
My mom was not happy with the type of lawyer that she was, so I won't disclose all of that. She really hated her job, but I won't get into that. But anyway, yes, I would tend to agree with you.
That kind of lawyer, like a
yeah, defense attorney. I also not a huge fan of prosecutors. You got a personal vendetta against prosecutors. I don't have like a criminal record or anything. Just personal vendetta against prosecutors in general. And so, yeah, just generally anything to do with like criminal law. I hate it.
Justice system is so flawed. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
but I didn't like go to law school to change it. So then sometimes I feel like I don't have any like say or room to complain about shit.
No, all right, like, listen. Hold on, let me get situated up here. Okay, I am going to complain about this because
Okay.
I desperately want to go to law school, right? It's something I'm really passionate about. I want to go, and I want to be, like, I don't know. Like I said, I feel bad for like, public appointed attorneys, and so I would want to be one. Because there's not enough of them, and the people who end up really needing them really, really need somebody. And so, even though their job is pretty shitty, I think I would be really good at it. And it's something I'm really passionate about, right? Is reform in the justice system. So anyway, I want to go to law school. Couple problems with that. I don't have a bachelor's degree. You got to have a bachelor's degree first. Okay? And there's no reason in my mind why you should have to have a bachelor's degree, because everything you're going to learn in law school, like, you don't have to have any prerequisite knowledge. You could have a creative writing degree and get into law school. Your bachelor's degree has no bearing on your entry, you know? And you just have to have one.
Not to bring up Kim Kardashian, but you live in a state where you have, like, you don't have to go to law school to become a lawyer. You can just work for a lawyer, apprentice for a lawyer, and then take the bar.
Right.
Not in every state.
It would take just as much time as if I went back to school to get a bachelor's degree and then turned around and did law school and then took the bar. It would take the same amount of time. It would be cheaper, but it would take the same amount of time. Also, you would have to find a lawyer that would be willing to let you do that. And I'm not Kim Kardashian, so I don't have the kind of pull like she does.
Okay, I see.
So I have, like, tentatively looked into that, but it doesn't seem like it would be a reasonable thing for me to do, you know?
Right.
But it makes me mad that I can't just go to law school as though it's a trade school. You know?
Right. Why
because
not?
Back in the day...
What if I'm willing to learn the same shit and I'm willing to do this work? Why is this a $400,000 degree?
So, back in the day, when people were, like, you know, when you went to go study whatever discipline you did, you could go and, like, get a general education if you wanted to. But if you wanted to just go study the law, you could go study the law. If you wanted to go study medicine, you just were like, okay, I'm going to go study medicine now. And you didn't have to go get a 4-year degree first. Yeah. And, like, I have dropped out of college 3 times now. Right? And credit-wise, I'm still a first semester freshman. And I have the student loans to back it up. Like, I'm in debt because of this not degree that I have. And it would be difficult for me to go back to school. And, like, I don't even know that I would finish because I'm not passionate about getting a bachelor's degree. I'm passionate about getting a law degree.
Right. Yeah, you're like, I need to cut the line. You're not understanding me correctly.
And I could go pre-law. I could go and do like a criminal justice degree. I could do these things. And that would be a little bit more interesting. But everything you need to know to become a lawyer, you learn in law school. And I don't think that there's any reason why anybody should have to get a bachelor's degree first before they got into law school. I think that's dumb.
I hate school so much, I could never do any of it. It all sounds terrible.
I feel like I would like law school because it's all policy and procedure. And I love policy and procedure. And vocabulary. Love vocabulary. Love some vocab.
A lot of words. There's so many words.
Yeah. But especially the policy and procedure part. Like, I'm so down for that. So down. So down for researching cases. So down for, like, trying to find precedent and, like, work back and find where the precedent came from originally and, like, Yeah, love all of that.
Mm,
But anyway, yeah, it's not a possibility. I'm just going to complain about it.
it's true.
But anyway,
Oh,
do you have
but,
anything else for us today?
you know, I don't.
Oh my
I
gosh.
am. I can't believe. I think it's just been this first week of like definitely headed back in a normal direction. Like it's my work and with life and stuff, and I feel like every day has been so busy.
I know.
I can't believe it. And we used to be busy like this all the time.
Well,
I'm
welcome
gonna get
back.
used to it really fast, though, I'm sure, and then I'll forget that we ever had this year where we did less.
I hope that's accurate for you.
I hope so too, because I cannot handle this fatigue.
Yeah.
Aggressive.
I mean, I feel like you are perfectly poised to be in a position where you just like lose it and quit your job and move out somewhere and become an artist and like just start selling pottery because you love it and you can't take the stress of the corporate world anymore.
Oh, thank God I don't work in the corporate world, so
I mean, but you like work in an office. I don't know.
it's true. But I can hack it, and I own the company, so I can technically make my job whatever I want it to be. I could hire someone to do all the stuff I hate and only do the stuff I like. That's like a long time from now when we can hire people.
Mm,
So for now, I have to do all the stuff I hate
yeah.
because there's nobody else to do it.
You're gonna have to start getting some unpaid interns.
Oh, I don't want to do that. That makes me sad. But yeah, I'm in the office the next 2 days, and I'm like nervous because it's going to be work.
That's gonna be okay. You can do it. I believe in you. You've done it before.
No, I mean, I used to do it every day.
Yeah.
I'm like complaining like it's scary. I have to go to work for 2 days.
I know, and be around people and have people stand over you and try to help even though they're not helping.
Yes, exactly my favorite. I love it.
Uh-huh. Well, if you have a situation and you would like us to pass judgment on it, maybe you're not sure if you overreacted or maybe you might have underreacted, but you want to know our opinion on your situation, go ahead and send us that in an email at either claireinoveralls@gmail.com or annainoveralls@gmail.com. Both of those will be listed in the show notes below. So will all of our social media if you want to see our other content elsewhere. But anyway, make sure that you rate us 5 stars or leave us a comment on YouTube and let us know, are you going to eat your worst enemy if you're stranded on a deserted island? I desperately want to know.
The question has changed now. It's just, are you going to eat your worst enemy?
Do you want him around or do you want him to bring you a book and then beat it? Yeah,
Okay.
let us know. In the meantime, I'm Claire. You can find me at Rent to Grown. I'm joined with
Anna, you can find me everywhere at AKPRZY.
and yeah, have a good week. We'll see you like at some point.
Until next time.